let me say, we open officially the meeting with Chrigel Maurer. We have a really special and extraordinary guest from Switzerland, as you see. Chrigel, first of all, I would like to thank you. We are really appreciate your accepting our invitation. And now, on behalf of the all Hungarian paragliding sport, I need to say this meeting with you, it's milestone in our history, because to be face to face with a life legend, with a world best pilot, yeah, that's true. It's a really special Christmas present from you. It's a great honor for us. So a lot of people are here already, and now I think hundreds of curiously Hungarian pilots are waiting for your magical words. We have plenty of questions, but before today's evening, I try to select it, but the limited time, even so, still remains much, but I promise I watch the time, and I hope those questions are help us to understanding more about the hike and fly and X-Alps, and of course, knows more about you. So, officially, good evening, Chrigel from Hungary. Welcome in the cyberspace.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. A lot of people are here. So, I don't think so. I should say a long introduce about you, because anyone who has any connection with the paragliding knows your name already. But yeah, that's true. But just let me say really few words about your results, because it's simply incredible. So you are the 6 times the winner of the Red Bull X-Alps. It's amazing. It's simply amazing. European champion, 3-time PVC overall winner, European champion, X-Sprint winner, Swiss national champion, 6-time acro pilot, acro world record holder. But so it would be hard to list. So I really don't want to attempting. So, but yeah, you reached everything as possible. I have seen on your website your results in the last 20 years, and this is more than one life for one man. Those results seems like to have been done by dozens of professional pilots, not alone you. So, but you did. So you are simply the Jedi Meister of the paragliding. It's clear. So, by the way, Switzerland has a big heritage of the paragliding. I remember a really long time ago, the first factories, the pioneers was there in, I don't remember his name, Philippe Bernard. Yeah, he's a Mad Max. It's a end of the 80s, and the ALDK company. So, and the Paratech, yes. So it's a long story, but that's a little bit. Let's go back in the time. Many of us has the same way. We had the dreams in our childhood, and somehow we try to make through. I think you are not exception. How did your career begin? How did you start the paragliding competition for you?
Yeah, it's a nice story. When I was 4, the paragliding sport came to Switzerland, and there was a school close to our place, and my father, he joined this school to learn how to fly, because he was a climber and he wants to fly down from the mountains, not to walk down. So the motivation was to fly down. And I saw him flying, and it really motivates me to do this as well. But he never made the tandem license, so I had to wait until I was 7. And then there was the first tandem pilot in our town, and I could fly with him from the mountains. And it was immediately, the feeling was so nice that I realized that I have to do this. And then I was very lucky, because my father gave me his wing, and it was possible to make ground handling and to try a bit and to work with this wings, and it really was fun for me. And finally, I also saw many others, because in the Alps, in the Swiss Alps, the paragliding sport came in, and it was just perfect, because we had this mountain lifts, chair lifts, and the mountains was just made for flying down. And yeah, it's maybe like when you live on the beach, you go for surfing, and in the Alps where I grew up, there was paragliding sport was perfect. And finally, it's maybe a big luck that I was able to grow up in this area, but I was always interested about these flying activities, because I saw also the birds when they fly, and I felt that or I thought that they are completely free, and I also wanted to be completely free. And so I was really happy when I was 16, when I was able to join the school myself. And when I got the license, I was really happy, and I thought, now I can go out in the world and everything it's easier.
It's a nice story. So, I mean, right. So the paragliding in the Maurer family is a heritage. Your father was a pilot, your brother Michael also a brilliant pilot. Yeah. You have, with Michael, it's a incredible XCF flight from Swiss to Austria. It's amazing. It's more than 6 hours in the. I can see. I've seen in the YouTube. It's amazing. So, by the way, your brother Michael, we heard about him less than you. He's not like too much the publicity.
It's really interesting. He's 8 years younger, and there was not that big interest about flying when he was young. But when he got 16, it really switched, and he really wants to fly too. And then he was pushing a lot as me, and I share my experience, and immediately he was good as me in cross country. And then he also starts to fly aerobatic. He starts to tumble, and he immediately was that good as me. And now when I went away from advance as a test pilot, he take this job, and now he is test pilot since 8 years, and he is flying every day. But for him, it's maybe a bit this competition. It's a good motivation, but it's not that important to try to win everything. It's just the fun and the traveling about the world. This is his motivation, and now he's also father of 2 boys. So it's maybe time to stay at home instead of traveling, and it's maybe the reason why he's not that doing so much in the moment.
I understand, but just I want to a little bit return to the previous question, because it's you in a very short time, within a few years, you have become and remain, of course, on one of them the best pilot in the world. It's really short time. You became and you stayed there. So yeah, that's true. That's true. That was your competition career, and
yes, it was in '98 where I went to the school and I got the license. And the first step was, my goal was to be a good pilot, to become a good pilot. And then the first step was to fly competition, like a Swiss Cup and Swiss Championship. And I was lucky that my friends from the valley, they bring me to these competitions, and I was immediately with the best pilots of the world. There was Hausi Bollinger and Kaspar Henny and Peter Lüthi, all these famous Swiss pilots. And I was immediately in contact with them, and I was learning from them a lot. And, you know, in competition, for me, it's also the best way to grow up, because every pilot got a challenge, and then you try to fly as fast as possible. And in every decision, you immediately get an answer because of the other pilots. You see what is the best and what's the worst, and where I stay. And now I can, in one flight, in one competition, I already have 10, 20 situations where I have to to think about what I do, and then to try, and then to see what's happened. And after 1 year of competitions, there was a lot of experience exist already, and then I was able to push more and more. I also was lucky to came to a good team with Kari Eisenhut. I got the possibility to fly an old but still good advanced glider, and with this material I was able to compete in the World Cup already quite good, and this was a big motivation. And with the Swiss League we also have a good system for supporting, for traveling, or everything was good organized. So it was many pieces of a big picture, and it was also a bit of luck that I got all this experience without a hard accident, because I was really pushing a lot, especially in aerobatics, and I was many times very lucky that I not had a really serious accident. So I got only good learnings, and then it helps.
Yeah. So I remember the legendary Swiss team, by the way. I remember a few competition, for example, in the European Championship in 2002 in Slovenia. I remember one day the Swiss team made almost 3,000 points. The first was Lutti, the second Kaspi, and then the French guy, and the fourth one in another Swiss guy. And they repeated this result 2 days later. And the team score, it was 2,988 points or something like that. It was amazing. The Swiss, yes, it's a legendary Swiss team. I remember, I know them personally as Lutti, Bollinger, and others. So one more thing. Have you ever tried different sport activities seriously before or nearby the paragliding? I mean, not which belongs to the X-Alps, for example, alpine skiing or something like that. Have you ever tried seriously?
When I grew up, I was skiing in the winter almost every day. I was in a mountaineering group in this when they push young guys to climb, and I was also the Swiss traditional sport schwingen, something like ringing. This I exercised for 2 years, and finally it was always interesting to see these sports, but I never felt the passion really to fight for a good result. It was just interesting to do. But in paragliding, the first feeling was the possibility to go out and be free, and then I realized that I really like to do these sports because it gives me so much of smiling, of freedom. And then in the competition, I realized that I can learn much faster to be a good pilot. So this gave me a good motivation to do these competitions. And after, I don't know, when I was maybe 18, after 2 years of flying, I realized that I'm quite interested to be good. So as a guy, I really want to do things as good as possible. So it also means in competition to win. And then I start to focus of best performance, of do it really good, coming from good to great. And this starts to make me more better.
Mm-hmm. So looks like you love more the complex sports, as the X-Alps, that require a lot of endurance, I think.
The endurance, I have to say that in 2000, I started paragliding competitions. In 2003, I won my first PWC. In 2004, I got Europe champion, for example. And in 2008, I was looking for a new challenge, a serious new challenge. And the X-Alps exist since 2003. And 2003, Kasper Henny won. Yeah. 2005 and 2007, Alex Hofer,
yeah.
friends of me, they won this extreme challenge. And I know that I can follow them in the air, but not on the ground.
He was, yeah.
So they was excellent walkers, and for me, I was 90 kilo, so I was not the fastest on the ground. And it was really the challenge to become more fit on the body. And then I did the application for the X-Alps, and I got the permission to start. And I realized that now I have to train and I have to come ready on the body. And it was for me a new challenge. And there was also the team, because in the paragliding competition, it's the nation or the Swiss team, but it's after the start, it's a single sport. And with the X-Alps, I realized that I need a support, I need a team, and how to become a good team and how to work with this team. This also was really interesting to me, and I want to know how it works to bring good performance in team also.
Okay, I understand. The last question before when we turn to the X-Alps especially. So how did you get your nickname, Adler Maurer, Eagle Maurer?
This is a funny story. In 2003, I flew the Europe record. It was 323 kilometers. And there was a journalist. They read an article about the record, and they say, I fly good as an eagle. And because I grew up in Adelboden, they say the title, the eagle from Adelboden.
Okay.
So it comes from a good performance and from this flight, and the journalists, they say that I fly good as an eagle.
Wow. Yeah. If I believe in the reincarnation, I want to be eagle on my next life. But you reached this already here and now.
In the name, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, your village Adelboden sounds first Adlerboden. It's a funny parallel. Just
sounds similar, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's return to the X-Alps. How do you see the X-Alps races evolved dynamically during the last years? I mean, the race became more tight technically, and the organizing, the support, the athletes level, the technology improved a lot, I think.
Yeah, really, because in 2003 there was just an adventure. The flying equipment was the normal equipment. They exist. There was around 17 kilo, and now they are 5 or 6 factories. The manufacturer, they made especially for the X-Alps, they made special wings, special harness, backpack, everything. So the gear came more and more perfect for this kind of race. Then the athletes, they really train hard. You can follow them on Strava. There is a group, Red Bull X-Alps 2021. And then also the teams. When I analyzed the X-Alps from Alex Hofer 2005, 2007, for example, there was the athlete, and they had a car, a supporter. They bring the car, and Alex was taking the cloth, they take the food. Sometimes the driver was cooking a bit, but there was just an athlete with help. And now we have a team. It means at least one supporter in one car, but he really helps to find the best takeoff places, the best routes. They bring the food, everything the athlete need. And they are also athletes. They bring 10 supporters in 4 cars. So they are already quite big teams. They want to help as good as possible, but every athlete have to find out by self what is the best team and what the team members have to do. But you can see that it's really came to another level to push all the minutes per day. So we have 17 hours and a half. And in this 17 hours, you push as hard you can, and then the rest you have to recover. And this really changed.
It's really interesting, the model. I mean, you talk about Alex Hoffer. He was a world champion 2003, and he was a European champion. But it's quite interesting because now we talk mostly about the XRs, but as we know, you have a lot of successes and victories in many other hike and fly competition. But so you achieved everything what you could in the traditional competition, not XRs, the traditional. You in your early ages. But it seems like after you leave this arena and the traditional competitions, and you turn to mostly to the hike and fly style. It's the same like Alex Hoffer made it. You know what I'm talking about? Because he was first European, the world champion, and then he was 2 times X-Alps winner. It's quite interesting parallel.
Yeah, but I think that we was in a time when we was young, only the cross-country competitions exist. And then there was some small wings came, and then the aerobatic grow up. And after, in 2003, the X-Alps competition exists, and then the hike and fly grow up. So it's all these steps. The steps came by step. For example, the first glider was able to tumble. It exists 2005, and with this glider, there was a new step for aerobatic, for example. And in the light equipment, for example, the Porsche Marine, this factory, they made the glue for the wing.
Yeah,
they made new materials, very light, in 2010 or 2008. I guess. And with this material, the gliders came more and more light. And now every competition glider have this material. So the new challenges, the new hike and fly sport brings also advantage in the normal paraglider sport for everybody. And so this is a development of many things, many small pieces, gives more possibilities. And for me, it was always a good next challenge. Beginning, it was the next challenge to fly competition, and then aerobatic, and then hike and fly.
Yeah, but equipment only one thing, because I think it seems like you like more this kind of challenge, the X hike and fly challenge, perhaps due to the complexity, and the hike and fly gives you more as the traditional competition.
It gives much more because in the preparation, I can learn a lot. And then I have the race to see how good it works and to fight. And in the traditional competitions, there is less training and a lot of traveling. And then the competition, they are quite in a short time of the day. So for example, a day have, on a good day in summer, they have 10 hours of good thermal activity. And the competition, it's just 3 hours. And I really like to fly a lot. And in cross country, for example, I can fly all day, 11 hours. And in X-Alps, I can fly all day, 12 hours. And this, for me, gives more fascination, more time in the competition, in the air to enjoy.
Yeah. So in the X-Alps, are you trying to do something different from race to race based on your previous experience? So you use your experiences for the next?
Yes, for sure. I try to optimize. In every edition, I made some mistakes. So every team makes mistakes. But we realized that as faster we can find a solution for this mistake, and as better we are. And for sure, there is not the big change because flying is quite on the limit. Then to run is a question of how fast you have to run or you can run. About food, we can optimize a little bit to bring lighter food with good calories. So, but it's also very good. I think the biggest improvement is in the decisions when to push and when to slow down and to recover. So it's in the past it was a race from 10 days, 12 days, and everybody was always pushing.
Yeah.
Everybody feels pressure all the minutes. And we realized that it's too hard. You get too tired too fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now there is one point we try to improve is to relax as much as possible when we can, and to push harder when it have to be.
Yeah.
Something like this.
So
But
I can imagine exists two main different feelings on the X-Alps. What you can feel it. One is I able to win. Another one is I should be to win. Sometimes those feelings are involving collision. How you can feel it?
I remember that the first edition I really want to win, but I don't know about my style, about my possibilities. I realized that I can follow in the air, but not on the ground. But I was lucky to have a good team, a good supporter, Thomas, and together we won. And it really makes me happy to feel that we understand a bit how it works and that we can move fast in the Alps. And in the second edition, I want to be better in decision taking, for example. And in the third edition, it was good to have a bigger team. We thought about to do it even faster. And 2013, it also was the fastest race. It was 7 days.
Yeah.
And 2015, we was looking for a new motivation, and we did the support with the electric car, with the Tesla. And it was super hard because of the compromise. I was not able to bring all my equipment. We have to for example, normally I like to bring 7 shoes, and I brought 4 shoes to have less material in the car. We was not able to sleep in the van. We had to sleep in a tent. So it was a lot of compromises, but the fascination that we can do a race like this with the electric car as support, it was so good that we really bring this to the end well again. And it's next summer, it's the 7th edition, and actually we really looking for a new challenge, not to win the race. So it's more to have a new motivation to learn about something new, to learn about how it can work also, to bring the fascination to other people they not fly, and maybe also to companies. They have teams that we can show them how teamwork can work in an extreme situation. Things like this, it's now the motivation instead of winning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people think you win again. 2021, you win again, yeah, because you have a big routine, etc., etc. But I think even after 6 wins, you take the preparation and the trainings same seriously as previously. So I don't think so ever you underestimated the other competitors. Your skills helped you reach to the summits, but your diligence and daily work keep you there. So you can't sit back never in your chair. You need to work always for the success.
We think to understand better what it needs for a preparation, and especially the key point of what is the motivation to do it again. This is the key point, because as long I stay motivated, I will do enough training. I will bring the good equipment, and as soon the motivation left, then it's a danger to not be ready, prepared. Because I know that now, for example, I'm physically not too bad. I can cover 1,000 meter uphill in 55 minutes or 53 minutes. And for the X-Alps, it's not important to be faster, but it's important to do it 4 times a day in 55 minutes. So the recovery have to be better, for example. Or to run on the road, I can run today 10 kilometers in 50 minutes. And this is not the problem, but to do 40 or 50 kilometers in one day without problem, without pain. This is not possible today. So I need a training. I need a training which is more and more hard. And the hardest part will be in May. In May, I do for sure the double of training than I do now, for example. And I know that when I do this, I can recover for the last 2 weeks, and then I'm really ready for the race.
So you are already in the training. You do already. So you started already with the trainings for the X-Alps.
Yes, I really train every day. At the moment, I focus more on the training in the gym to build muscles.
Yeah.
Because muscle in my legs, in my general body, gives me good resistance, gives me a good base to make after the running training, for example. And then in winter I do a lot of ski touring, but not in a fast pace. I do a lot of hours, a lot of meters, but not so fast. And then in spring I start to run and to increase the speed. And the goal is to not to increase the hours per week. It's the goal. It's then to increase the speed, and like this, I can cover more meters, and with the meters, I'm sure that I can be more ready for the race after.
But you have different trainings. I mean, what does your typical training week consist of? So, which parts are there?
Yeah, it's 2 times 1 hour in gym. And then I try to do around 10 hours of walking or ski touring or running. And this I do depends of the weather. In summer, I also do mountain biking, but now in the winter, I go for hike and fly or ski tours. And there is also a little bit of running down, especially closer to the race. I start the training to run down to also be prepared for that. And then it's always depends of the weather, of the friends. So I like to train with other people, and so sometimes I go with friends. They are very fast. Then for me it's hard training, and then I do a training with other guys. They are slower, and then I can do an easy training. And so I separate the trainings to have a different load. So the worst I can do is do every day the same circle, the same mountain in the same speed. This gives success.
But are you do the trainings mostly alone or always with some company or with your team?
I would with my team I train once a week, and then I maybe do 70% with friends and 30% alone. Something like this.
Yeah. So on the X-Alps in the race, sometimes, in fact, sometimes often can be happen on when you have to decide quickly. There is no time to consider the short or the long-term consequences. At this point, which aspects what you compare? I mean, the efficiency, your current position, and other competitors' position, the success, the safety, or what you compare?
The problem is that mostly I focus on speed. So every decision is to have the fastest or the most efficient flight or the most efficient run. But it always have to be safe. So in flight, as long as I have a plan B, where to land safely, I can push for the speed. But as soon it looks danger and I not have really a plan B, then I have to be careful. So that means every flight have to be safe. Otherwise, it's a risk, it's a gamble. And when I'm with a bad luck, it's close that I have to cancel the race. So, and this balance, I always have to find, and it's also my biggest stress, because to have a good decision, it's not so difficult with the experience I get from the training. But in the race, I got very tired because not sleeping too much, and then in the air with stress and the tiredness to do the safe decision. This is very a problem, and for me it's also the most stress, because maybe I can once share a picture, because it shows a situation from last year, from last race. Here I stay on a takeoff Titlis on 3,000 meters, and as you can see, there is a thunderstorm coming from the west, and I have to fly to the west. And this is a typical situation where I have to decide to start or not. And I have measurements from the stations on the ground, so I can see the wind under the storm, I can see the wind on the landing, I can see a lot of things, but I never know what's happened in 20 minutes when I have to land there. But on the takeoff here, I can wait and I can ask friends or the internet. The bigger problem is when I go to the flight, and as soon I'm in the air, I not can wait, so I have to land somewhere. This is after the start in the air. And then the start, the pressure or the stress, because I know I have to land safely, but as far as possible, so as far to the Monaco as possible, but on this place is already raining, so I have to find a place where it's as far as possible but also safe, and this is always a stress.
Wow, it's amazing. So as I see the pictures, sometimes the weather can be when you should fly against or away from the optimal course, because you have to avoid the mountains, valleys, thunderstorms, air channels. Perhaps at this point, when you recognize this, you are angry, disappointed, nervous, or so, but it's not time for it. My question is, how can you recover quickly to your clear, safe sobriety, because the race is still on?
Yes, here it's an example when I was in the race in Germany. This is also X-Alps last year. I was racing to the turn point Zugspitze and Lermoos, and on this corner I not recognized the strong wind, and then I was pushing a little bit too much. It means here I had some lift, and then I not took this thermal. I thought it's enough to land on the turn point, and then I got a big lee, so here it starts to push me down, and immediately I realized that I made a really big mistake. And the goal in this situation is to focus on the options I have and not about the mistake I made. So this is not easy, but if you try to learn this, you can learn and then you can do it better. And for example, focus on the options. I got a new lift, and then I thought now it's okay, but I miss the thermal because of strong wind, and finally I had to land. And for sure it was a really bad situation, because it was one of the biggest mistake I made on the race last year. And the mistake was here. I thought it's working well to glide to the turn point, and I pushed too much, and then I had this lee situation where it was a surprise for me, and finally it was it pushed me down, and I had to land and to walk. And I really tried to, in these situations, I tried to see the next steps instead of the mistakes, because the mistakes I'm not able to change that. I can change the next steps. And the next step was to look for a new takeoff, to check the route, the hiking trails, to come in the air as soon as possible, and really to push as hard I can. and this is a typical.
It was a typical situation, yeah.
A typical situation, and sometimes I really think about what I can do better, and I realize during a lot of mistakes that in the air I can imagine that some things can happen, but I always think about positive. I think about it will work for sure, and then it puts me down, and on the ground I realized that it was too much risk.
Yeah.
And I'm angry because I already realized that it can be like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the big challenge now is to learn to react on these feelings. So as soon I get a feeling that it can be a tricky situation, I have to change to a safe surviving mode. So to fly on the points or on the terminals that really brings me up again.
Mm-hmm. Understand. I want to share one video about you. I hope I will find it, but I am not sure. Let me check. Just a second, please. I try to sharing the video about you, but it's not in X-Apps. It's Xperineon. Just a sec. I try to open. Yeah, just a second, please. You see the videos? No?
No, Peter.
Wow. Why not? One more, please. Just a second. How can I sharing? I am here already, but yeah.
That was the takeoff with a strong wind.
Yeah. But why I don't? I can't sharing. Kinga, why not?
Click on the share screen and try to find it down.
I can share it.
Usually.
Okay, maybe that's easier if you share it, Christian, if you have the same.
Now you can see.
You can see the black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
yes, that was exactly.
takeoff.
Thank you. As it was. Thank you very much.
That's the solution.
Yeah.
So maybe the situation, it was in the XP race on the second day, and we was walking all the morning, 6 hours in the rain and in the wet, and then we came to the main ridge, and we walked to the south, and in the south there was north wind, in the south there was dry, and it was föhn. You know föhn in Hungary?
Yeah.
No, föhn, no.
Föhn, it's the wind comes from the pressure.
No, we don't have.
When there is a ridge, and on the one side it's more pressure, a high pressure, and on the other side it's a low pressure. Then the pressure puts the air above the ridge. And then you have on the low side with the high pressure, you have humidity. And because it's the ridge, it presses the humidity out, so it's raining in the low. And then the air in the south, in the lee side, it's dry, and then it's clearing up, but the wind got very turbulent, very strong. So that's the föhn. We call them föhn in Switzerland. Maybe there is another name but the phenomenon, it's in a lot of countries with the ridges. And in the Pyrenees, there was the south side with strong wind, but dry. So there was an option to fly, and this is a takeoff heading to the ridge, to the main ridge. So it's the main ridge was high, and there was a small hill in front, and the wind came from the north and down and up on this small ridge and go out in the flat. And I was not thinking about flying because of this strong wind, but I saw other pilots flying. There was Toma Coconea, for example. They took off 30 minutes before. And here you can see Stephen Hase, an American pilot. He also was inflating his wing, And then I recognized that it can be possible, and I was sure that I can fly not only down, I can also cover distance. In this wind, I can fly to the next ridge, do soaring, and then to continue the flight. And that's why I took off there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like this.
Let me see. It's incredible.
So the problem was a bit that the wind was strong, and the wind was about 40 or 42, and my trim speed it's 40. So as soon I inflate the glider, it's a lot of power, and in this moment, as more I hold again, as more power the wing gives to me. Mm-hmm. And the best is to walk against the wing to take the energy out. But then there was so strong that I go backwards. So here it's important to control the wing, but also to give speed to not going backwards. So I had to control once, and then to go into my speed bag and to grab the speed bar and to fly a little bit in accelerated.
And so at this takeoff, did you know exactly what was going to happen step by step, and you calculate with it?
Yes, I really was in this period. I was test pilot, and I flew every day, and we also tried a lot to in-flight the gliders in strong wind, for example, on the landing or on the hill, and especially in the winter when there was snow. And I was ground handling in windy conditions when there was wind about 45. Wow. And when you learned step by step to in-flight the glider with more wind, you can better, you get a better technique, a better feeling, and you realize what you have to do. So when you start with 10, 15, then it's easy. With 20, 25, it's already pushing. And with 30, it's already a lot.
So as we saw now in this video, and many times in many videos, some parts of the X-ups or this competition, the top landings too, at the takeoffs, more than dangerous. It's in fact. For example, when I see your top landings nearby the rescue houses on Eiger Tour, one video, I should say honestly, the cold shiver at me. It's amazing. So those situations are, I mean, the top landings and the windy takeoffs, by my opinion, the most dangerous part of the race. The strong winds, the hard surface for landing with big stones. So not too friendly circumstances. You have some special techniques, or just you try to improvise to do the safe and the best, and it's possible to practice?
I would say a takeoff, it's always more plannable. So you can wait, you can analyze, and you can train by ground handling a lot of minutes, hours to practice, so to get a good feeling. And top landing, it's much more danger because it's not possible to get that much training experience, because it's always a flight and you have to land. You can start to land on a big green field. You can start to land on steeper fields, and then you can like doing challenges. It means setting a point and to try to land as close to this point as possible, and then you to restart, to turn in thermal, and then to top land again. And like this, I did maybe in 1 hour, I did 40 landings, 40 top landings for training. And I did this many times. And with this, I get the feeling what I can do, in which conditions I can land safely. And then I can bring this experience into the competitions. But for sure, there is always a higher risk because of the unknown situation. So you not have a windsock, for example, and you not can sit on the point where you want to land because you fly to the point. So they are more factors. They makes it more tricky and more unknown, and you have to try, and the try always gives more risk.
So summary, you should listen to yourself, your impressions, and you try to make the best decision, or you decide to do or not to do. It's too dangerous or something like that, not?
Yes, I have my own rules, and the best rule to me is my feeling. I can improve my feeling by training. So when I do a training, I know better what I can do and what it's too difficult. So this is, for me, training means I learn what I can do. And the second step from a training is to improve my style. Or if you go running, you became more fit because of the load. But on the other side, that means for me, it's the better effect of training. You learn while running how fast you can run, what you have to eat, etc. So training is always learning and improving.
But preparing mentality, your prepare your mind ready for different kind of situation. I mean, the risk management, and then it's very, very necessary. I think it's a big part of the training, preparing your mind ready for the hard race. So yeah, or not?
Yes, that's true. But with the training, it's also the training for the head, because with all the experience, your head realize how it works or how it not works. And this experience gives you a feeling. And if you go with this feeling into the competition, then you have a good measurement or a good rule. But the problem is that because of the competition, you get more pressure or maybe more motivation. And that you, even with this impact, that you can stay on your feeling. This is very important.
Yeah. So I think now let me talk one unique Maurer secret. What is already not secret? Your gloves with the different instructions on the fingers. I have seen the movie with Hugh Miller with the Cross Country Magazine, the report with you, and I saw the. This is the secret, really. It's helpful for you.
This is maybe not the secret, but it's, for me, it's really helpful, and I sometimes smile that I not became this this idea more early, because this is a picture.
Wow.
How it works, because normally if we ask the pilots now, what is your goal for the flight from tomorrow, they can exactly explain how it works. But tomorrow in the air, they made mistakes. And this is because, or I felt for myself, because I have an emotional influence. So flying is a lot of emotions. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's a bit of stress. And in this emotional feelings, I forgot often what I like to do. I forgot what I for example, that I bring all the stuff with me, that I fly on the right position, that I turn enough instead of pushing too much of speed. So all of small things that I realize on the ground, I forget in the air. And this, with the gloves, they gives me just a reminder. So the secret is that you can bring your gloves, that you can think about the points you do wrong in the air, and you can read the fingers, and you will find a reminder in the air. Because the gloves, for me, it's the only tool I can remind me in the air, because I see them.
But your right hand gloves is the same, or is it different? Will it be different?
Depends. I have gloves, for example, for the training. I have gloves for the race, and I have, for example, last X-Alps, I bring the left one for the preparation for the flight. So not to switch on all instruments, to have the drink available, to have the food in the bags, things like this, to have a good plan, to have a plan B. And in the other hand, I have the reminder for the flight. So to be serious, to have always a good plan B, that it's safe, to find a good balance from pushing for the safety, things like this.
So I think every day, every morning, you try to prepare yourself with the most positive attitude for the race. Wash your face with the cold water and clear your mind completely, regardless of the circumstances. What do you think the hesitation, the fears, bad things destroy this kind of good attitude?
Yeah, that's really difficult. For me, it's more important to have a clear idea what's the next step, because as soon I know my next step, my next activity, my next goal, I can focus and I can find the motivation. And with the motivation, everything is working. The question is really about the motivation. As I say at the beginning, to do the preparation for X-Alps, to do the race again, that's a question about motivation. Because you can compare to the cross-country flights. The good pilots, they cover 200, 300 kilometers. They really fly a lot, hours in the air. And the other pilots, they say, I not have these motivations to stay that long in the air. And the good pilots, they really like to fly. They really like the thermal. They really like to fly, to enjoy. And if you stay in the air for 11 hours, then for sure you have a big distance covered.
So the X-Alps is also the competition. It's the hardest competition, but the formula is quite simply the fastest, the best. My question is, are you nervous if you hear, for example, somebody is close to behind you?
It depends. When from the X-Alps, I know that on the beginning we are together, and then it's really familiar. So we can talk to each other, we can take decisions together, and we can help us to fly, for example, to find the good lines, the good thermals. And it's really a teamwork with the other pilots. And I really like that style. And as soon I stay alone and I have to fight alone, it's more hard. As long I stay in front, for sure it's easy. And when I feel the pressure from the others, for sure this exists, but it's also what I'm looking for in the competition. I'm looking for the fight, for the pressure, and I feel in a nice mood, in a nice situation. For sure, if we come really close to the goal line, it will be differently. I know this from other competitions, and then I try to find my option, my route, and my tactic. And if I can finish well, I'm happy. If not, the other is better. I have to accept this, and this is part of the game. And so,
it's a nice
game.
Yeah, nice game. I know it. So, if you had to say 3 important things, I mean, qualities about yourself that will help you to succeed for the victories, what will they be?
I would say the motivation, it's very important. Then the fun, you always have to, or I always try to think about why I do this, to enjoy, to have fun. And the third point is about the safety. We do a sport which is very dangerous, but we also gain a lot of these feelings. But in generally, I'm a father, I have to come back safely, and I not have to risk because of the sport my life.
By the way, now you prepare yourself for the 7th edition of X-Alps. I think after 6 consecutive success, of course, already logical for everyone, you should win again. Do you feel more pressure about it? So because everybody waiting for you, you should prove again.
This I realized in 2011, after I won 2009. Everybody looks to the winner. Everybody thinks about the performance, but this is the feeling from each other. And I have another feeling. I know that it's a new race, and it's not a race, it's an adventure. And in this adventure, everything can happen. And I know that we was really, really lucky in this last 6 editions. And I know from other experience that it's sometimes just a small mistake and then it's finished. So this is what I focus on. And the media, the journalists and other pilots, they speak about the win, but I know that it's the focus on moving safe and seriously, step by step, starting in Monaco, and after we look forward.
It's amazing. It's a really simple secret is that you don't want to win at all costs. Such a player who is going into the casino for the game, not for the money, you know?
This is true, yes.
Exactly,
yes.
yeah, I think so.
And this is what I the biggest motivation for the race, it's the preparation, because we do trainings, we learn things. I'm looking for new sponsors, for example. In this work, I learn about new companies, new persons, new stories, new ideas. And this I can do for the next 6 months. And after it's the race. And I would say that the race next summer exists is not sure because of the COVID situation.
Yeah.
But after this preparation, for sure, we can make a next step. We as a team, we can be on a next level. And this is more important than the race. So we need this race to be motivated, to have a reason to train. But if the race not exists, we still have an advantage.
I have a question. One of my or client, he asked, by your opinion, what is a key to the lifelong safe paragliding career, or what the main considerations, rules that can be followed to minimize the chance of the more serious accident?
Sometimes you can reduce the risk in flying, for example, not a high level wing, so staying one step below, for example. This I do in X-Alps. Normally I fly a competition glider like this, and in X-Alps I fly the Omega X-Alps because it's more compact, more easy to fly, and this gives me more safety. And the other point is to reduce your goals. So if you really want to fly 200k, for example, you can set your goals to fly 10 hours. So, and this goal to fly long, it's maybe more safe than to push to 200. And maybe the third point is to fly in groups or with other peoples, because when you fly alone, you never know exactly about the wind, about turbulences, about decision taking. And as soon you go flying with other people, you're more people thinking about, you have better feelings about the air because you can see them, how stable are the wings, and this gives more safety. And in the end, it's also good to make a constantly experience. It means flying maybe 50 or 70 hours per year. It's a minimum, because if you fly less, you lose the feeling. Or if you have a break in the winter from 4 months, for example, you lose a lot of the feeling. So you have to start slowly, and you can start or you can do ground handling, for example. If you're not able to fly, you can do ground handling. But to find every week 1-2 hours working with the glider, this gives a lot of feeling, a lot of good feeling, where it helps to manage difficult situation in the air.
Yeah, thank you. It was really useful. Yes, I think it's very necessary. So it was talking already a few words about the gears. No, I have read your naked stuff in the next X-Alps, approximately 7 kilograms. So which aspects are important for you when you choose the stuff, your stuff? I mean, the wings and the harness, the performance, the weight, the comfortable, the physically size, trouble-free handling. So what is the main aspects of what you use it?
It have to be a good mix of good weight, as light as possible, but still with a good performance, and the quality have to be good enough to be solid for daily use. So it means the lightest equipment they exist, they are not useful because they can break in the race, and the heaviest, the good performance, they are too heavy to carry. So we have to bring something in between. And I was pushing this equipment in 2008, 2009, and 2012, and then with the manufacturer, they was helping to think about solutions, and now we can bring down the equipment to 7 kilo. 7 kilo means it brings a harness with the back protection, which is certified, and the glider, which is certified, and the rescue, and the helmet, which is certified, and a mobile phone and the life tracker. This is the minimum equipment we have to carry, and this is around 7 kilo. For sure, the harness have to be comfortable, not really comfortable, but comfortable enough to fly 10 hours, and also to be able to recover the legs, because it not helps to fly 10 hours, but the legs are not comfortable, and after 10 hours you can't walk anymore. So it has to be something like in between. And now we have on the market maybe 3-4 harness, 5-6 wings, and 2-3 rescues. They are really light and comfortable. They are specially made for this race. And finally, there is not the big deal for the new equipment. We made, I work with Advance, and we try to do small changes, but in generally it's more or less the same.
I have seen you will fly with the X-Alps 4, or?
They're working on X-Alps 4, and I'm sure they will finish, and we will see how much better he is in glide or in speed and in handling, and I hope that they not bring the weight too much up.
So your personal equipment is very important too. I mean, from the shoes, socks, t-shirts, jackets, caps, gloves. So those should be working perfectly during the race. You test your personal equipment before the race completely?
Yes, this is one of the most important, to try about cloth for running, for flying, then the shoes, and all the equipment you have to train in, like in competition. And this is the most fail athletes do. They bring new, very good equipment in the race, but they have no experience about. And then in the competition, they realize that it's maybe not the best for personally using. And for example, for the race, I bring quite old shoes and old equipment. But for me, it's more important that I know that it works instead of new and perfect.
So, Chrigel, your wins and successes are based on your personal work, knowledge, skills, and qualities, but it's not all. behind you is the team, the legendary Thomas, the magical guide, navigator, psychologist, handmade winch, cook, so and many. So you have got multiple help from him. All right.
This is right. Yeah, I really like that that he pushed me also. We do a lot together. We was 2008, 2009. We was trying to understand exactly what it's the challenge, what we can do, what we have to do, all these things. And then he got father. He built he grew up with a company, and now he is already motivated to work for a next adventure race for the X-Alps. Actually, he is coaching a sailor, a skipper, sailing around the world in the Vendée Globe race. And yeah, for him, it's a good challenge again. And there are two things. One, it's the race that he can support me, but the other part is the training, the preparation now, that we can think about new moves or new tools that helps us to manage the race better. And like this, we do once in a week a meeting, a training, and a lot of conversation in email. And yeah, like this, it's working well. This was yesterday. We was planning in the office, and in the afternoon we covered 3,000 meters hike and fly. And this was a typical X-Alps day, and it's a long route, but step by step it's working.
Are you only two in the team? No one else? Yeah,
we are two making all the preparation, and after in the race we will be 3 or 4, and this is the reason that we have many followers in the race. And the Martin, will be one of the guy. They follow us by another car, and he will support the fans, the people they meet us. And for us, for example, we really like that people follow us on the road, but sometimes it takes me a lot of time instead of running or instead of easy lunch. They ask many things. They want this signature. They want to talk with me, and we think to have a good relationship between the race and the people they watch. We bring Martin, and he will explain them about our plan, about our fitness level. They will also sell merchandising products from us, and so he will support the team. I have a supporter, it's Thomas, and we as a team have a supporter, it's Martin.
Yeah, the time is going very fast, but we have more questions. But I would like to ask you something. I saw in one of your lectures one special Maurer formula. It was lectures in Germany. It means 1 + 1 = 3 about the team. So how you mean? Can you explain how you mean it?
Yes, there was a book. They had a very easy drawing in, and it was really interesting for us because it shows that if you can bring different know-how in a team, and this accumulates the efficiency, you can gain much more than, because in the normal X-Alps they are teams and they bring a supporter, so it's 1 + 1 is 2. And for us it's important that we think about a better solution. It means maybe one, it's an athlete, plus Thomas, it's a psychologist or a mountain guide. We can do as a team much more, so we can be much more fast. And finally, it's I'm looking for the drawing. Finally, exactly this. We tried to do many times in the races before, and sometimes it was working, and then we was faster than just by helping. This is the formula. But finally, it's a good sign to think about teamwork. For example, for a company, they have a bigger team. They can think about the strengths of each team member and what they can do best, and then you can have maybe more efficiency in all the team, instead of everybody helps as good as possible or do the wrong job.
So I understand. By the way,
this here I found it.
When you are tired, can be happen. Do you judge the situation differently? Maybe not realistically. In this case, how much does it matter what your team says? Wow, I see exactly this figure. Yeah.
Yes. So
you unconditionally accept what they say in this situation when you are tired and you are not a little bit unsafe. I mean.
Yeah. There is a team tactic we have. So in a normal situation, for example, here, we decide the next step, and for this step, the support Thomas, he looks for options, and then he tell me about the options, and me as an athlete, I can decide what I want to do, because like this, I also have to push, and then if it was wrong, it was my fail. And normally he not says what I have to do, because of the rules we set in a team. So he always brings informations, and I have to take the decision.
So, but you accept his opinion 100%.
Yeah, he have to give me more opinions. So he showed me maybe 2 or 3 takeoff places with 6 different hiking trails, for example, and I personally decide for the option I prefer or I like to do, because as soon he starts to give advices, then I feel that they really have to be the best, and when they are the best, for sure it's good, but as soon they are not the best options, then I feel stressful because he gave me the wrong advices. And so when he do the driving, or when he do the food, I really accept what he do. But what I have to do, it's walking and flying. This I decide myself. You understand? We really split the things.
Yeah, it's a nice team. So we have still plenty of questions, but I would like to ask the last one, and then, if is it possible, I would like if you show your environment before this meeting. When we were just talking, you showed us some places where you live. Just it's my last question is about the X-Alps, because we have a lot of any hard race like X-Alps. It's very important, the food and drinks. I guess you don't have an English breakfast every morning and a nice lunch in the terrace with cocktails and romantic dinners. So the content, I mean the food content, energy, taste, all of them, it's important. Do you have some special meals and drinks during the race?
I was testing really a lot, because there are a lot of different races. They bring a lot of different foods, and what finally really helps me is to eat a lot. It's not so important what I eat, it's important that I eat really a lot. For example, here, this is a surprise. When I came to the car, he gives me a really nice dessert, and I prefer it because it brings a lot of energy, and because of normally I move not too fast, so I walk, and then it's not important what I eat. When I really push, then I prefer things like this, this is on the left side. This is a Chrigel. This is the lightest energy where I can carry. So it's really light, and I can eat easily with a high heart ratio, and it brings quite a lot of energy. And the other food or energy is the drink. So I bring energy powder, and I can mix with water, and then I have a lot of energy. I can, for example, this is a bottle of 700 milliliter, so almost 1 liter, and I can cover the half of a plate of spaghetti, of pasta. So I can really eat a lot of energy by drinking. And during a race day in X-Alps, I have to bring around 4,000 calories, and I drink above 5 to 7 liter a day. 7
Wow.
liter liquid a day. And I have just to, it's like a dream for me, because I can all the day drink and eat what I like to cover the energy. So it means as long as I stay on the road, when I go close with the car, I can have every food I like. And as soon I hike up and I stay in the mountains, I look that I have the lightest possible but good energy. So to bring the Chrigel or the powder where I can cover the energy. The most
Always.
important is to always to eat, not to wait until I'm hungry, because as soon I'm hungry or thirsty, it's too late.
Always try to do something new in the race?
No, never. I really test a lot in the preparation, and then I make a list what I actually like, or what I in a day what I really like, and then in the race we do only this.
But the taste is very important too, because otherwise
the taste, it's funny, the taste is changing, because sometimes I like the sweet, and sometimes I hate the sweet. I need the salt. So sometimes we went to McDonald's for the frites. And yes, it's really differently. Normally in the morning at 5 when I start, I'm not hungry at all, so I have to start walking immediately. And then after 1 hour I get a bit of activity, and then I can eat the breakfast. I take bread, cheese, and honey, for example. And then during the day when I push, I take power bars, Chrigel, and drink. And in the evening before sleeping, I eat always a lot of pasta, as much I can, and then I can cover the energy.
Unfortunately, the time is run very, very fast. We have just only a few minutes. We don't want to waste your time. You are a father with your family, so just really few things more. Chrigel, your results already lifted up you within the best Swiss sportsmen athletes ever in your own sport. In the paragliding, your name is the same as Roger Federer in tennis, or Fabian Cancellara, the cyclist. By the way, he's my favorite. So you wrote yourself into the big book of the Swiss sport history, is fact. But regardless this, sometime in the future, you say, okay, it was enough. Your experience about the hike and fly, the competition, X-Alps, and of course your attitude philosophy too, is simply unique. I think must be sharing with the next generation. Do you have a plan for the future? You do some academy or some professional education for the young pilots, sharing your experience or something like that?
Yes, I always tried, because when I was young, the good pilots, they helped me to be good, and this I really like, and I want to do this as well. And I still since 5 years I do with Martin Schell this newcomer challenge, 1 week of flying training with young cross-country pilots. And since 3 years, I also push the X-Alps Academy. X-Alps Academy is a system with my sponsor, Teamwork, where we try to help new hike and fly athletes. Because in paragliding, there is a Swiss league, and in running, there is a lot of groups you can learn to run fast, but it's not existing a hike and fly group or a hike and fly community to grow up. So we made this X-Alps Academy, and I tried to spread my experience in this. Actually, we have a X-Alps team, a pro team, and a race team. And in these 3 teams, we have different levels, and we make different trainings. And all in together, we have 40 athletes where we try to support and to push. And we also try to have good experience together in training and also in the competition.
That's great. I think it's the time now. I would like if you can show us one more time what you showed before the meeting, your house bag, your environment nearby your houses, because it's easier to imagine you in your house and your environment. So, and it's possible to show us this place.
Yeah.
Where you live.
Google Earth. It's this place. You're somewhere in the east. Here.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Even more.
Yeah, east
Nice.
of Austria.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, that's we are exactly in Budapest. Yeah. That's we are.
Oh yeah. And yes, this is Switzerland, and this is where I live now, the Bernese Oberland. Here we have the Alps, and here maybe it's the famous flying area in Valleys. So this is the highway
with the
for
Glacier.
Aletsch Glacier. Yes, you can see it clearly. These mountains here are 4,000, and this here are 4,000 until 4,500. And actually, here is Adelboden, where I grew up. I live here in Frutigen, and here we have a ridge where I did a lot of my long cross-country flights, because here we have a ground from 500 meters sea level, and the peak it's 2,300, and the face it's perfectly for the morning, and I can fly to the west in the morning and cover some distances. And yeah, last summer in June, I made a almost perfect flight. This flight starts here at this peak in the morning at 9:30, and then I could fly. In a good day, I can fly all straight, but on this day I had to turn 3 times because it was not so strong, or it doesn't start so strong. But then it continues nicely, and I could cross the border to France, west from Chamonix. Here is Chamonix, the Mont Blanc, and I flew a little bit more west direction, Annecy. And this was for me completely new. This leg I want to try for the X-Alps, because the X-Alps was the best to take this route, and I never flew in this area, so this was a record flight for me to see about this part. I even flew before in Morsin. There was a Europe Championship in 2006. I flew in Annecy sometimes, but this area I was not so familiar. Then I turned and I flew up the valleys on the south. Also, this part was new. Verbier, it's famous. This I know from some trainings from Swiss Cups, and but from Verbier to Zermatt, for me it was completely new. It was a good experience. The good thing was that the day was perfect, and you can't see, but the cloud base was really high. It was much above 3,000, mostly 4,000, which is also the maximum we can fly in Switzerland, 3,950. And then here the mountains are more than 4,000, and I stay below to not have airspace violation. And I turned on the Italian border here. It's the Italian border. And normally in Switzerland, we have humid, dry air. It's really dry and high cloud base. And in Italy, we have influence from the sea. There is the sea here, the flat, then the sea, Venezia, and then we have humidity until the Alps. And then it's the high ridge, and in the north, it's dry and high cloud base. Yeah, finally I flew back home, crossing the ridge. Is always a little bit tricky because of the wind and the height, but it was working. And then I was early back, and I could fly in the evening to the flat direction north and back. And this was a triangle about 343 kilometers. It's a world record flight, but because I not finished completely, it was not an official world record. It's just the longest triangle in the world.
It's amazing. It's incredible. It's a one-day cross Alps flight. So
yeah.
So
yeah, this is a lot. This was the first FAI triangle over 300 in Switzerland, and there are many people trying to fly 300 in Switzerland. They flew in France 300. They flew in Austria 300 many times, and not in Switzerland. And this flight, it was the first. I was the first cross the 300 cross border, but on this day we was 5 pilots. They flew 300. There was another one on this track, and there was 3. They flew here 300. It's very funny.
It's the same day.
On the same day, yeah. It was. You can check the X contest world on the 2nd June 2019.
Okay, so Chrigel, thank you very much. Finally, the time is gone. Sorry, we got the end.
Yeah.
And but let me say some really closing words. Listening to your words, I think you are a really charismatic person. And during this short conversation, as you created this friendly atmosphere, and as you shared with us the unbelievable content, I think it became obvious for everyone. By your words, we almost saw the high mountains, and we felt the cold breeze from the glaciers. It was really amazing. Thank you very much for all, and I hope once we can continue or talk personally on some takeoff, or we will invite you along XA weekend in Hungary. Perhaps you will be the first who break the 400 kilometers in Hungary.
Yes.
Record, because our country is really small, and it's hard to setting the task within the borders. It's not so easy.
Yeah.
But I think after this meeting, you can be sure hundreds of Hungarian fans will be push you in the X-Alps in 2021. So really thank you for your help and your unforgettable meeting. Now I have to say goodbye to you on behalf of the whole Hungarian community, and we would like to wish you Merry Christmas and happy successful New Year. And the most important thing, I think, just by the Star Wars, the May Force be with you, Master, in the future.
It's very lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chrigel, once for everyone. If you wish, you can leave our meeting. We stay a little bit more here, just talk, but we continue in Hungarian. But so how can I say? Really, thank you one more time for your education. Thank you very much, Chrigel.
Perfect. Thank you too. Thanks for organizing, Peter. It was a pleasure. Yeah, let me know if you have another idea. If I find some time I enjoy, and I like to share my experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chrigel. See you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Goodbye. Ciao. No, srácok, akkor egy pár szót csak így befejezésképpen, mert nagyon elszállt az idő, annak ellenére, hogy én csak egy órát kértem tőle. Hát köszönjük szépen a jelenléteteket, hogy megtiszteltétek ezt a nagy embert vele. Hát én azt gondolom, hogy azért egy picit közelebb jutottunk ehhez a csodálatos emberhez, és hát itt a végén én ilyen elakadó lélegzettel néztem ezt a repülését, hogy mit repült ott össze, tehát így azt gondolom, hogy tényleg sikerült most bár, hadd ne mondjam nektek, hogy nagyon kevés olyan ember van a világon, mint a Chrigel Maurer, de van egy, és ez magyar, úgy hívják, hogy Takács Pál, aki abszolút ilyen sokszámos versenyző, hiszen tudjátok, akropilóta, akrovilágbajnok, X-alps résztvevő, és egy extrém sportember, úgyhogy legyünk rá büszkék is, de azért a Maurer az mégiscsak a királya ennek a szakmának, és azt gondolom, hogy így az előadásából és arról, amiket így elmondott, abból így eléggé kitűnt, hogy nyilvánvalóan egy ilyen karizmatikus egyéniség. Én, ha megtehetném, akkor biztos elmehetnék hozzá egy kicsit így okosodni, mert azért nagyon elgondolkodtató dolgokat mondott, és érdekes módon, hogy milyen rövid idő alatt eljutott oda, hogy meg tudja fogalmazni ezeket a dolgokat, amik annyi embernek fontosak, és annyi embernek a biztonságát jelentik. Hát tulajdonképpen én ennyit szerettem volna csak elmondani nektek, és majd tájékoztatunk benneteket a következő beszélgetésünkről, és akkor most viszont az egész Flyaway siklóernyős iskola és klub nevében, mind a magam, mind pedig a többiek nevében, minden klubtagunknak és minden résztvevőnek és minden vendégünknek kellemes karácsonyi ünnepeket és sikeres új esztendőt kívánunk, és hát folytatjuk tovább az előadásokat, folytatjuk tovább a programjainkat, és hát előbb vagy utóbb majd mi is valahogy kikeveredünk a hegyek közé. Úgyhogy köszönjük szépen nektek a részvételt, és hát remélem, hogy nem sokára majd találkozunk.